Imagine receiving a certified letter in the mail. You open it, and the words inside make the floor drop out from under you. The letter claims you don't own your home, that the land your house is built on, the street your kids play on, was all part of a massive real estate fraud. 496 families in a quiet suburban neighborhood. This isn't a nightmare, it's the reality that has consumed their lives. This is the story of how the American dream became a legal trap, all because of a billion-dollar blunder their homeowners association never saw coming. An entire community is on the brink of being erased. We're talking about 96 homes, each one a vessel for a family's life savings, now at the center of a catastrophic legal battle. The accusation is devastatingly simple. The developer who built the neighborhood allegedly did so on stolen land, using a forged deed, and the HOA, the very organization meant to protect the community, inherited and ignored the ticking time bomb. Now, the land's true owner has emerged, armed with proof of ownership, and is suing to reclaim everything. This isn't just a story about a bad HOA. This is an investigation into how a single act of fraud, compounded by gross negligence, slipped through every safeguard and now threatens to leave nearly 100 families homeless and financially ruined. How did a crime of this magnitude go unnoticed? And what hope do these families have when they re-trapped in houses they can T-sell, can't refinance, and might be forced to abandon? It all began with an official-looking envelope. Inside, a legal notice informed residents that their properties were part of a title dispute. The document alleged that the very ground beneath their feet had been acquired with a forged deed a decade earlier. At first, it felt like a mistake, a bizarre scam. A flurry of calls went out to the HOA board, the trusted stewards of the community. The board's response was an attempt to calm the waters, dismissing the letter as a frivolous legal threat. But the panic was not so easily contained. Soon, more letters arrived, this time from law firms. The lawsuit was very real. An heir of the original pre-development landowners had surfaced, presenting an ironclad chain of title dating back a century. The developer, it was alleged, had used a fraudulent quitclaim deed to seize the property. The community's foundation of trust and security shattered. The threat was no longer abstract. It was a concrete possibility that every home, every driveway, and every front lawn could be repossessed. The courts could declare that all 96 houses legally belonged to the plaintiff, leaving the residents as trespassers in their own homes. The peaceful suburban dream had descended into a waking nightmare of chaos and fear. So, how does an entire neighborhood get built on a lie in the 21st century? To understand how a disaster like this is even possible, you have to unravel a thread of alleged greed and systemic failure that began years ago. Court documents suggest it started when a developer targeted a large, seemingly forgotten parcel of land. Instead of legally purchasing it, the developer allegedly forged a deed to fraudulently claim ownership. This single fraudulent document was the key that unlocked everything else. With it, they secured permits to build and loans to fund construction. They laid down roads, pipes, and poured the foundations for 96 homes. Once the houses were sold, they created a homeowners association and handed control over to the residents, a standard industry practice. But in doing so, they passed on more than just responsibility for landscaping and bylaws. They passed on the fatal flaw in the title for the entire community. The HOA board, now the legally responsible entity, inherited a ticking time bomb without ever knowing it. Multiple safeguards are supposed to prevent this title. Insurance companies, county clerks, and lenders all have a duty to verify ownership. But here, a sophisticated forgery and a catastrophic lack of due diligence from multiple parties allowed the fraud to succeed. The developer cashed out with millions, leaving the HOA and its residents to face the consequences. Now, that HOA is facing a billion-dollar lawsuit. The association's insurance policies, designed to cover minor errors or common area damage, are completely inadequate for land title fraud on this scale. The financial fallout threatens to bankrupt the HOA, leaving the homeowners it was meant to protect utterly exposed. Today, the neighborhood is a ghost of what it once was. The vibrant sense of community has been replaced by a collective, suffocating dread. For sale signs have become permanent fixtures, collecting dust as they warn away potential buyers. No bank will issue a mortgage on a home with a clouded title, making a sale impossible. Families who need to relocate for work or family are trapped in a prison of their own making. Their life savings and years of equity have turned to ash. The psychological toll is crushing. How do you explain to your children that you might be forced to leave the only home they've ever known? Neighbors who once shared backyard barbecues now gather in hushed, anxious circles to discuss legal fees and foreclosure notices. The playground, once echoing with laughter, often sits eerily silent. These residents are victims. Twice over, they did everything right: secured loans, made their mortgage payments, and paid their HOA dues on time. They invested their life's work into a promise of security. Now they are caught in a legal limbo, unable to move unable to sell, and waiting for a court verdict that could take everything. The 96 families in this community are trapped in a fight for their lives, and the battle is far from over. If you believe homeowners need better protection from corporate fraud and negligence, show your support by liking this video and subscribing. We are committed to following this story and will bring you updates as they happen. Your engagement helps us keep these important investigations going. But these families are not going down without a fight. Faced with the prospect of total ruin, they have united. What began as desperate living room meetings has transformed into a formidable legal coalition. By pooling their dwindling resources, they've hired a team of aggressive property rights attorneys and are preparing to wage war in the courtroom. Their struggle represents a powerful new front in the battle for homeowner rights. They are not just fighting to save their houses, they are fighting to hold the systems that failed them accountable. A victory here could set a precedent, forcing developers and HOAs nationwide to take their responsibilities seriously. Their legal strategy is a two-pronged attack. First, they are directly challenging the landowner's lawsuit, arguing that as good faith purchasers who bought their homes legally, they have rights that must be protected. Second, they have filed their own sweeping lawsuit against the developer for fraud and against the original HOA board for gross negligence. They are demanding damages, not just for their financial losses, but for the profound emotional devastation this ordeal has inflicted. This isn't just about defense. It's about justice. Out of the chaos, they have found their power. They are no longer simply victims of a broken system. They are active warriors demanding that the promise of homeownership be honored. As of today, the fate of these 96 families hangs in the balance, entangled in a legal war with no end in sight. While their specific story is a dramatized cautionary tale, it is rooted in the very real dangers of unchecked HOA power and the catastrophic potential of title fraud. Across the United States, homeowners are beginning to question the power these associations wield. Lawmakers are taking notice, with states like California passing reforms to increase transparency and limit an HOA's ability to penalize residents. These are positive steps, but they don't address the fundamental gaps in the system. The nightmare of an entire neighborhood built on a fraudulent foundation serves as the ultimate warning. It reveals that the safeguards homeowners are taught to trust insurers, lenders, and government clerks can fail. It forces us all to ask a difficult question. How secure is the title to your own home? The story of these 96 families is a stark reminder that a deed is more than a piece of paper. It's the bedrock of your largest investment. And when that bedrock is shattered by fraud and negligence, the entire structure of your life can collapse. This community now stands as a symbol of that collapse and a warning that every homeowner must remain vigilant. The most powerful tool against injustice is awareness. Share this video to shine a light on the dangers homeowners can face. And if you have a story about a conflict with an HOA or a developer, share it in the comments below. By combining our voices and experiences, we can build a more informed, empowered, and protected community of homeowners. Thank you for watching.